A new class of weapon is emerging. It is poised to reshape the landscape of international security. These are hypersonic missiles. They travel at speeds once thought to be purely in the realm of science fiction. The term hypersonic itself refers to speeds greater than Mach 5. This is 5 times the speed of sound. That is more than 1 mile per second. At such velocities, a weapon could travel from New York to Los Angeles in under 30 minutes. This incredible speed is what makes these weapons so revolutionary. It compresses time and distance, creating new strategic challenges for every nation on Earth. The development of hypersonic weapons is not a sudden breakthrough, it is the culmination of decades of research. Scientists and engineers have long pursued the goal of ultra-high-speed flight. However, recent technological advancements have brought this goal within reach. Major world powers are now investing billions of dollars into their development. This has ignited a new arms race. Unlike the nuclear arms race of the Cold War, this competition is about speed and maneuverability. It is a contest to see who can build the fastest, most elusive, and most effective delivery systems for conventional or nuclear payloads. Understanding hypersonic weapons is critical for everyone. This is not just a topic for military analysts or policymakers. The proliferation of these systems will have profound implications for global stability. It could alter the fundamental principles of deterrence that have prevented major wars for over 70 years. The very nature of conflict could change. Hypersonic weapons are fundamentally different from existing missile systems. Their uniqueness lies in 2 key attributes: speed and maneuverability. Ballistic missiles have reached hypersonic speeds for decades. An ICBM re-enters at Mach 20+, but their flight path is predictable. An ICBM follows a high, arching trajectory, like a thrown ball. That predictability lets missile defenses track and calculate intercepts. Hypersonic weapons are designed to be unpredictable. The second major category, cruise missiles. Cruise missiles are highly maneuverable. They fly low, hugging terrain to evade radar. They are relatively slow. Subsonic, much slower than a commercial airliner. That slow speed gives defenders time to detect, track, and shoot them down. Hypersonics merge the best of ballistic and cruise missiles. They combine extreme speed with evasive maneuverability. That combination creates an unprecedented challenge for defenses. Military planners are very interested. A hypersonic can reach a target in a fraction of the time of a cruise missile. It can make sharp, unpredictable turns in flight. That makes reliable intercept calculations nearly impossible. It can fly lower than a ballistic missile. Ground radar will detect it much later. There are 2 primary types of hypersonic weapons currently under development. Each achieves its incredible speed and maneuverability through different means. The first category is the Hypersonic Glide Vehicle, or HGV. An HGV is not self-powered for its entire flight. Instead, it is launched into the upper atmosphere on top of a conventional rocket booster, much like a satellite or a ballistic missile warhead. Once it reaches a high altitude, the HGV detaches from the rocket. It then glides back to its target at hypersonic speeds. It uses its aerodynamic shape to generate lift and perform maneuvers within the atmosphere. The glide phase is what makes the HGV so difficult to defend against. Unlike a ballistic warhead which follows a predictable arc, the HGV can pull up, dive, turn. It essentially surfs on the upper edges of the atmosphere. This allows it to approach a target from unexpected directions and evade interception attempts. The technical challenges are immense. The vehicle must be able to withstand extreme temperatures, with friction from the air heating its surfaces to thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. It also requires highly advanced guidance and control systems to remain stable and on course while traveling at more than a mile per second. The second major type is the Hypersonic Cruise Missile, or HCM. Unlike the HGV, a hypersonic cruise missile is self-powered throughout its flight. It is propelled by an advanced air-breathing engine. The most common type of engine for this purpose is a scramjet, which stands for Supersonic Combustion Ramjet. A ramjet is a very simple engine with no moving parts. It uses the missile's forward motion to compress incoming air for combustion. The pursuit of hypersonic technology has become a top priority for several major military powers. This has created a new and intense arms race. The United States, Russia, China, each is pursuing multiple programs to field operational hypersonic weapons. They see these systems as essential for maintaining a strategic edge. Billions of dollars are being poured into this. Research, development, testing. Public declarations signal importance. Military parades underline it. Russia has been very public about its programs. It says it has fielded at least 2 systems. Avangard, a hypersonic glide vehicle carried by an ICBM. Kinzhal, an air-launched hypersonic missile. Russian officials call them invincible and link them to nuclear deterrence. China has made breathtaking progress. It has conducted many successful tests. China appears focused on conventional roles, systems that could target U.S. aircraft carriers, and military bases across the Pacific. The U.S. is racing too. Decades of foundational research are now accelerating. The Pentagon is pushing faster after Russian and Chinese advances. Hypersonics are becoming a global standard for military power. Other countries are joining the race. France, India, Japan, Australia. The introduction of hypersonic weapons has the potential to profoundly alter the global balance of power. For decades, the United States has enjoyed military dominance based on its technological superiority. Its powerful aircraft carrier strike groups, advanced fighter jets, and global network of military bases have allowed it to project power anywhere in the world. Hypersonic missiles directly challenge this dominance. They provide potential adversaries with a credible means to hold these high-value U.S. assets at risk. A country armed with long-range hypersonic missiles can create a protective bubble around its territory, making it much more dangerous for U.S. forces to operate nearby. This is particularly true in regions like the Western Pacific, Eastern Europe. China's development of hypersonic anti-ship missiles, for instance, could fundamentally change the strategic calculus for the U.S. Navy. An aircraft carrier which costs over $10 billion and carries a crew of 5,000 could become vulnerable to a surprise attack with little to no warning. This would force the U.S. to either risk its most powerful assets or keep them far away from a potential conflict zone. In either case, the ability of the United States to intervene in a crisis, for example, over Taiwan, would be significantly diminished. This shifts the regional military balance in China's favor. Similarly, Russia's hypersonic systems are designed to counter US and NATO power in Europe. By fielding weapons that can bypass sophisticated air and missile defenses, Russia can threaten key command centers, air bases, and logistical hubs across the continent. This capability undermines NATO's ability to reinforce its eastern flank in a crisis. The proliferation of hypersonic weapons introduces a host of new and serious dangers to global security. Perhaps the most significant risk is the erosion of strategic stability. For decades, the risk of nuclear war has been managed through a concept known as mutually assured destruction. This rested on the certainty that each side could retaliate after a first strike. Hypersonic weapons threaten this stability because they are extremely fast and highly accurate. A country might believe it could launch a successful decapitation strike against an adversary's leadership and nuclear command and control systems, disabling their ability to retaliate. This could make a first strike seem more tempting in a severe crisis. Another major danger is the problem of ambiguity. Many hypersonic missiles are being designed as dual-capable systems. They can carry a conventional warhead, or a nuclear warhead. When early warning sensors detect an incoming hypersonic missile, it will be impossible to know which warhead it carries. Is it a conventional strike against a military base, or the start of a nuclear attack? The extremely short flight time leaves no room for clarification. A leader under attack would have only minutes to decide how to respond. The immense pressure could force them to assume the worst and launch a retaliatory strike, potentially leading to a nuclear war by mistake. The speed of these weapons also dramatically increases the risk of escalation. A conventional conflict between two hypersonic armed states could quickly spiral out of control. Imagine one country launches a conventional hypersonic strike against a believed military target. Defending against hypersonic weapons presents an enormous technical challenge. Their combination of speed and maneuverability renders most existing missile defense systems obsolete. Traditional defenses are designed to intercept threats like ballistic missiles that follow a predictable path. They work by calculating an intercept point in advance. This is simply not possible with a weapon that can make sharp turns at Mach 5 or higher. Furthermore, the low altitudes at which some hypersonic weapons fly mean that ground-based radar systems have very little time to detect and track them before they reach their target. The window for interception is incredibly small. Developing a credible defense will require a new, multi-layered approach. It will likely involve a global network of space-based sensors. Only from orbit can you get the persistent, wide-area surveillance needed to detect and track a hypersonic missile from the moment it is launched. Once detected, a new generation of high-speed interceptors would be needed to engage the threat. Other futuristic concepts, such as directed energy weapons like high-powered lasers or microwave beams, are also being explored. However, all of these technologies are in the early stages of research. They are many years, if not decades, away from being effective and affordable. For the foreseeable future, the offense has a decisive advantage over the defense. The difficulty of defense makes arms control more important than ever. However, negotiating limits on hypersonic weapons is also incredibly challenging. The dual-capable nature of these systems creates a major hurdle. It is difficult to create a treaty that limits conventional hypersonic missiles without also affecting nuclear-armed ones. Furthermore, there is a lack of trust and transparency among the major powers. Despite these challenges, some initial steps could be taken to reduce the risks. It is a challenge that today's leaders must confront. Hypersonic weapons represent a paradigm shift in military technology. They are not merely faster missiles, they are strategic game-changers. By combining unprecedented speed with unpredictable maneuverability, they threaten to upend established doctrines of deterrence and defense. Fragile peace between major powers has rested on those doctrines for generations. The ability to strike anywhere on the planet with little to no warning compresses decision-making timelines to a perilous degree. This raises the risk of miscalculation, misinterpretation, accidental escalation. The line between conventional conflict and nuclear conflict has never been more blurred in the hypersonic era. A global race to develop and deploy these systems is underway. United States, Russia, China. Each nation seeks to gain a strategic edge or to counter rival capabilities. This action-reaction dynamic fuels a costly and dangerous arms race. Nations may think these weapons increase security, but collectively everyone becomes less secure. Vulnerability from these invincible weapons could make conflict more likely. Defending against hypersonic attack is a monumental task likely years away, giving the advantage squarely to the offense. That makes dialogue and arms control more urgent. The international community must manage these risks associated with this disruptive technology. We must prioritize diplomacy, strategic foresight, to navigate the hypersonic age and steer the world toward a more stable and predictable future.